All right, I'm going to talk today about the GED essay, what you can do to be ready, what you can do to raise your score. I'm going to give you a couple of tools that you can use to practice and you can bring with you in your head on test day. So let's talk about what to expect. First thing is that there's only one thing you'll need to write on the whole test, on all 4 tests. There's only one essay. There used to be a little more, but they got rid of everything but the essay on the RLA test. The question that they're going to ask you is always the same question, which is great because then you can prepare for it. The question is going to be boring. Be prepared for that. There's reasons they do that. It sort of gives people an unfair advantage if they ask a sort of interesting question, something about, I don't know, something about sports would be interesting to certain people and would be really boring to other people. So they try to find something that's going to be boring to everybody to make it fair. You have 45 minutes to write. That's about a third of the test. It's a separate section on the RLA test. That includes reading the texts, planning your essay, writing the thing, and proofreading. In theory, it might just include, getting down as much as you can in those 45 minutes. It is graded on 3 things: your argument and evidence, what kind of the quality of the argument that you're making and how you back it up with evidence from the text, how you organize your essay, and how you use the language, either English or Spanish, which are the only 2 languages that the GED is offered. Each of these are worth 2 points, but it's not an exact, this isn't a 6-point essay out of a total possible 100 points. You get scored between 100 and 200 on this test, and this is worth more than 6 points. Some people, I've seen references to it being worth as much as 20% of the test and as little as 12%. So it's not a ton, but it's not nothing. So keep that in mind. Another thing to expect is that no human being will read your essay. It's scored by artificial intelligence. There is you'll see the little asterisk here, because there is one situation where it's scored by a person, and that's if you disagree with your score. If you thought you really nailed it and you got no points, you can ask for a human being to rescore your test. And the privilege of having a human being rescore your test will cost you $50. If the human being rescores it differently than the artificial intelligence, you get the $50 back. But it's hard to imagine a scenario where that $50 is a good investment, unless you got a 144 on your RLA and that's your last test or something, and you really thought you nailed it. Okay, that's some background stuff. There's other good news. You don't have to spell things right. The AI, the artificial intelligence, just needs to recognize what you're trying to say. That doesn't mean you should write sloppily, but you can misspell stuff. It won't count against you. You should also expect it to look like this. The instructions are over here. The essays, you click through here. There's 2 different essays. One guy's going to like daylight savings time. One guy's going to dislike daylight savings time. And you're going to write your essay here in this box. You'll notice this is extremely boring. Nobody cares. So be prepared to fake it. You can copy and paste within this box. You can't actually copy and paste from the essays over to your essays, from the text over to your essays, which is too bad. You'll have to type them out, type out the quotes that you want to use, which you should, which I will get to in the next slide. My tips. So be ready for what the prompt is going to ask. It will ask this: analyze both positions presented in the article to determine which one is best supported. Use relevant and specific evidence from the article to support your response. It will. Maybe they've changed the verbiage a little bit, but that's what you're looking at. 2 essays, 1 pro, 1 con, analyze them both. Be ready to say which one is best supported. The thing to remember, the most important thing, is which is best supported does not equal which one do you agree with. The algorithm grading your essay does not care about your opinion. And if you offer your opinion instead of your analysis, you won't get any points. Which is best supported basically means which one makes a better case. If you can talk about how one side cited statistics, or this one made a compelling emotional argument. They're never a compelling emotional argument. Those are things about better cases and not just which one you agree is right. You want to quote as much as possible to show the AI that you are citing evidence, which is one of the things they give you points for. You want to try to write a lot. You have 45 minutes, and if you can write 5 paragraphs, you should be good. Each paragraph has like 3 or 4 sentences. They say that they want 300 to 500 words, and I don't think there's any way to like count your words up. There's no word count feature in there. But if you write 5 paragraphs, you should be okay. Do all the little things to make your writing look professional, like capitalize sentences and punctuate correctly and use complete sentences. If you know some fancy words, throw in the fancy words. Change the syntax and the length of your sentences. That's sort of what they're looking for to give you points for the using language correctly category. And finally, if you have time at the end, go back and proofread. Fix all the little things that you tried to do here and didn't do when it was game time. So those are my tips. There's one other main tip, and that tip gets its own slide. Don't worry. I mentioned at the beginning that this essay is worth anywhere from 12 to 20% of your RLA score. And I should tell you that I've been teaching a GED class for 2 years now, and the overwhelming majority of my students who pass the RLA test get 0 points out of the 6 possible on this. And this isn't like all the students who take the test, this is all the students who pass the test. This is 1/3 of your time on the test, and it's as little as like, 1/7 of your score. So do your best. The reason I'm making this video is to help you get some extra points on this, but don't worry. In fact, maybe you should be spending your time watching my other videos about the multiple choice, because that's where really it's make or break. That's what's going to get you to pass this test. If you're aiming for a college ready score, one of the higher scores, then yes, you should definitely worry about this essay. But if your intention is just to pass, nah, you're okay. Okay, that's sort of the end of the tips and tricks and background part of this video. I'm going to give you a resource, a tool that I made to practice. And if you're not interested in that, that's fine. Feel free to just move on to the next video. I'm going to put a link in the bottom to a series of videos put out by the pro literacy folks that's on the GED website that do a really good job going really deeper than I'm going into the GED extended response to the essay. But if you want to stick around, I'll spend a couple of minutes explaining what this tool is. So here is a fake essay. We have at the top the question, which is just like the question you'll encounter on the real test. The question that these 2 texts are responding to are, should states legalize recreational marijuana? That is, like, for many people kind of interesting, so you can expect to never see it on the real GED test. And I sort of set this up on purpose because these 2 essays, which I wrote both of, there's one very obviously better supported essay. You can pause, take time to read both of the essays. It should be obvious to you which one is better supported. It won't be like that on the real GED. The GED's 2 essays, 2 texts are going to be pretty evenly matched. You're going to have to sort of make a judgment call about which one you think is better. The reason I did that is because I wanted the one that most people would agree with, at least according to my student population anyway, to be the worst one. So I made it bad. Here's the actual tool that you can use. It's this template here. It's like a mathematical formula, and you need to do a little bit of brainstorming, and then you just plug stuff in and you're done. You have your own introductory sentence, just one. And then you have this formulation. Although one essay makes some good points, ultimately the other essay best supports its position because of 3 reasons that you have thought of. And these reasons go into your paragraphs. They're the topic sentences of your next 3 paragraphs. Reason 1 goes there, reason 2 goes here, reason 3 goes here. You want to have some transition phrases. That's actually something they're going to grade you on in terms of the organization. Things like what's more or finally. That stuff matters according to the artificial intelligence that's going to grade it. And this final paragraph is just the reverse of that first paragraph. Although essay 1 makes some good points, ultimately essay 2 best supports its position because of those 3 reasons. And then you have a concluding sentence. This is like the 5-paragraph persuasive essay that if you, I don't know, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, some teacher probably tried to shove down your throat. And in real life, it's a totally pointless skill to master. But on the GED, this is what will get you all 6 points if you can do a good job. If you want to pause and read this essay, which would be a 6 out of 6, you can do that. But this is sort of like you can adapt it to anything. Whatever, if they're not talking about marijuana, maybe they're talking about, well, the daylight savings time was the example that they gave you. Maybe they're talking about something political, politics, although politics probably won't show up on the test either. That gets some people excited and some people bored to death. You can adapt it for anything. So that's what I got for you. That's the background, some tips. Here's a tool you can use. And just as a final reminder, don't worry. This part of the test is the least important part of the test. Go do your best, but don't stress. Here's the part of the essay where I thank you for watching, and I invite you to like and subscribe. The end.